So let's for a moment pretend that no secret societies worship any occult stuff, okay? Because maybe some of them don't. But just before you write me off like I'm trying to say that's true, I don't know. I'm just saying even if they don't, okay, there's still a problem here. There is. So say they don't. Say some of them have over the years been, and I'm not saying it's true or not. Some of it we don't know. There's been so much misleading information about them. One of the biggest being that some of them like to be secret because then it draws people to them. Some of them may like to pretend, and I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying, thinking outside the box here, that maybe we worship the cult. We have this name, Skull and Bones, which really I think they do. It's dark, okay? But let's say, for instance, it's not. Let's say, for instance, the Freemasons is just a club that wants to help men attain their greatest achievement and be a good person in life. Well, first of all, there's a problem there. They would disagree, obviously, but it's the fact that God is the only one that sets man on the right track. Not that you can't use other men, but when you start getting into that whole like taking oaths and degrees, and that's where it's all, it becomes no different than your Catholicism stuff. I mean, look at the coronation yesterday with Charles, which he's not a king. He's no different than anybody else. He's not a king, but they have to put that big hat on him, just like the popes and the bishops and all of them wear their big hats so they can stand out in the marketplace, right? Yeah. So anyway, and they do it all under the guise like, may God protect the king. Yeah, I don't think God's going to protect that kind of king. No, a little bit too much with the bling. Let's say I think Jesus would take issue with, just my personal opinion. Anyway, getting back to the secret societies, and let's consider they're not a cult. There's still a big problem with them. And the big problem is that what comes with being in those societies is a lot of influence to get you into positions that everyday Americans can't get into. But because that person took their degrees or took their oaths, or took their initiations, and elevated to a certain status, they will now have people in big positions that will look to take them on as a president or as a whatever it is, a lawyer of a firm, the head of a nursing association, which will then that's why the association has gone to, tanked. That's what happens I'm not saying that, let me back up, I was being sarcastic. I don't know that, obviously there's no women in Freemasons, but there are cults, or secret societies or societies that are women societies. And I would say it's the same way for the women's society groups too. They are the ones that the nurses that are in those societies. Will be who will be elevated to positions of the highest regard in nursing. Yet they, as you can see, completely have failed the nursing profession in every way. With the unions, let's make it clear, because otherwise the unions like to come in and say, "Yep, we're going to come help you." Yeah, no, you're all together. Stop it. So consider for a moment that. There's no occult worshiping, none of that. It is still an issue because you are in a club where you want to make sure only your people that you see as deemed worthy to get into positions that everybody, I mean, if they're qualified, obviously, should have a chance at being in. That's the problem with it. I would say that's even more of a problem. I mean, if you want to worship the occult, if you want to worship Satan, as long as you're not sacrificing children and all of that, then you have a right to do it. I mean, under our Constitution anyway. It's clearly not the way that God wanted it. But I also don't think that God wanted us to go chasing down people that didn't agree with our views, because that pushes people away. God just wanted us to spread the word. He wanted us to help others, didn't want us to have to go to a club to learn how to do that. Part of the problem with some of these societies is they think that those good works that they do will matter to God. God says in the Bible they don't. They don't, because they do it for their own motive, their own glory, raising themselves up, being enlightened within their group. But when you're truly doing something from the heart, first of all, you don't speak about it. You don't need somebody to tell you. It comes naturally. You just do it, and you'll never talk about it, or you rarely bring it up. That's how God works. See, that's how God guides you. God's the ultimate degree maker here. So that's really the problem with all these societies and these universities, is they go on. Look at all of the skull and bones people we have had that have been at the highest of levels. So many, and they're everywhere. And that's the problem. Those positions then, for you and me and the average American, they don't see us as worthy. You're not worthy enough. If you haven't gone and gotten all of our degrees, whether in Freemason, Skull and Bones, or the university, you haven't done it the right way. So you have not elevated into our high level of consciousness. And you know, you don't want to be there, trust me, because it's just, it's really a false light there. But that's truly unfair. So if you think about it, how can any of these organizations, especially Freemasons, sit on this platform that we're about helping the average man be their best person in society? Well, you're not, though, because it's your very people in your very group that then get to go on and be in those positions that everyone should have an opportunity to be considered for, right? So then you're lying to yourself. So that's the problem, is they get these secret societies, these Greek alphabet letter fraternities have all this influence. They do. The very fact that University of Illinois Chicago Psychiatry Department oversees DCFS, and it's still a train wreck, should tell you they make sure to put the worst people in charge of children. They do. I mean, Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dorn wanting to talk about juvenile justice was really disturbing, because they are not stable people. People that blow up the Capitol, people that are proud of blowing buildings up and causing terrorist acts. Those are not stable people. Yet they're the ones telling everybody. They're the ones that your universities elevate into special positions, right? And go on to write books that then a bunch of people think that these people are so great. And it's like, yeah, no, they're the degenerates of the society. Sorry, just saying they are. I mean, if you're proud of blowing buildings, like, you're a degenerate. So, just saying. So that's really the problem. You can take all the occultism away. You can say, oh, that's all conspiracy. We don't do this. We don't do that. Well, that remains that still is called into question because of all the children that have gone missing over the years, and because there's absolute evidence for the satanic ritual abuse. Whether that is from those secret societies, we don't really know, but it's somewhere is doing it. Okay, likely Bohemian Grove, which is a bunch of secret societies. But if you take all that away, just think about it. It stands in the way of the average everyday American. So they don't help their fellow man. They step all over their fellow man and elevate only the people that they deem within their group as being worthy of this plan. And then they go on to become at the World Economic Forum and want to tell you we have to save the planet. Yeah, God doesn't want you saving the planet, John Kerry, Al Gore. God doesn't want you anywhere near it because you've messed it up too much. Yeah, all you experts. Yeah, just saying. You could have found all this out if you had humbled yourself. You got to know God instead of looking to man to make you become enlightened. But instead, what happens to enlightened men, enlightened women, and their intellectual superiority? Well, they go on to they become so racist that they only help promote the people that are within their little society. Well, having all those little societies in a free country doesn't work. So all of you are the problem.